delicious people. Welcome to another Dear Bukola. It's been a while. Yes, I know. Sorry, I've been so busy. Other things are coming up, and it's part of the work that I had to do. So sorry about my disappearing for a while. But we are back on this episode, and this episode I don't have the individual three letters that I usually write. Today it's going to actually focus on the pastor and Biodun Dakolo allegations, because it's been brought to my attention, and not only that, but it's been what has been trending in the Nigerian community at home and abroad. And indeed, because as an advocate, this is also one of the areas that I work on aside from human trafficking. I want to respond to this on the Dear Bukola platform, because the Dear Bukola platform focuses on relationships, relationship with your neighbor, with your friend, with anybody. And it's such a sad incident. Really, it's really, really sad. I have try to go around to read different people's opinion on this. I have also watched and listened to the 1 hour plus interview on YouTube. Yeah, I did that to be able to come give my own candid opinion to this. But first of all, before I go into my opinion or no my opinion, I want to commend Biodun Dakolo for summoning the courage to come out and share her story. It takes a lot of grace, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy to come out and share that story. It's not easy. Every time a victim shares his or her story, it takes a pound of flesh out of that victim or out of that survivor. It does. So I really, really commend her for what she has done. Thank you so much for what you have done. You are making it such that others will find a voice. And I also want to commend you for also seeking therapy, because towards the end of your interview, you said that you are seeking help, you are seeking therapy, and I'm really grateful that you are doing that, because that is very, very important to keep you stabilized mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Mental health is very, very helpful for a survivor of violence. So I really, really commend you for that. So now let's go into today's topic, my own opinion to this whole thing. All right, first of all, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, come on, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Bukola Oriola channel. This is a fun channel, and this is also an educative channel. Beyond fun, we do a lot of education on this channel. And those of you who follow regularly, you know that I'm an advocate, and I don't take that issue lightly. And that is why even in the Dear Bukola show, you will always see at the end my PSA, meaning public service announcement for victims of human trafficking and domestic violence to reach out for help. Right now, the list I publish is the phones, actually, that I publish is phones for those in the United States. So if you're outside of the United States, you can send me an email. Send your email to info@bukoloriola.com, and I will be able to refer you or connect you to services in your own region or in your own community, hopefully. if there are services available in your community. Okay, so before we go into, into that, let's first of all do some, quick findings. And I went to the United Nations, because United Nations always go to different countries around the world to gather information. So that is reliable information that I'm sharing with you. And I'm just going to reference, I think, one of it that relates to the topic that we are talking about right now, which is the issue of violence against women and rape. So the United Nations says 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys experience sexual violence. And this is Nigeria. In fact, according to their key findings, there is a high prevalence of violence against children in Nigeria. And 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys experience sexual violence. They also noted that 1 in 6 girls and 1 in 5 boys experience emotional violence by a parent, caregiver, or adult relative. So, violence, they said, also starts at a young age for children. Perpetrators are overwhelmingly known people. So, meaning people that are known to the children are mostly the perpetrators. And that is the thing I want people to know. People always think that the person who we commit, I think that's just the default thinking. And that's an illusion, that the person who commits a violence against you is an unknown person, is a stranger. It is not always a stranger. It is most likely someone known to the victim. And when I listen to the Bukola Dakolo, I said Bukola, right? It's not Bukola. The Dakolo story, Busola Dakolo story is close. The Busola Dakolo story, when I was listening to her, she was talking about how she was going to before it became a church, how she was going to the fellowship, and how even the pastor in question was coming to their house. So the pastor in question was known to her family. It was a familiar face to the family. It wasn't a stranger. The morning he came to do what he did to her, if it was a stranger that knocked on the door, I'm not sure that she will open the door. More than likely, she will not open the door because the person is a stranger. But this is not a stranger. And then another thing is, even with the car incident also, at that point with the car incident, he already did the first one. The first one was kind of like the breaking of the person. So the next one, the victim is just like, I don't have power, I don't have strength, I don't have anything, just have your way and let me go. Now, looking at it from the victim's point of view, and it's sad that some people are not believing this story, and some people are saying, oh, she's lying. That is one of the challenges we have. Victims don't tell their stories because people do not believe. Victims keep silent because people do not believe. And some accused her also of waiting till so long to speak up. Trust me, victims can wait a lifetime to speak up. With the work I do right now, I have been privileged, really, really privileged, to listen to people confide in me about the violence they experienced as a child and as an adult that nobody knows about. But they found the confidence to share with me in private. You know, somebody who was molested as a kid may not say it, may not share it until adulthood, until something triggers it sometimes. And in her case, looking at the trend of the story, she was triggered to share that story. So she had to come out and say enough is enough. She was the victim and she was the one that was being blamed. You know, most of the time, victims are the ones that get the blame. The perpetrator walk away with no accused, no nothing. And in this case, you know, I'm wondering because when I look back, and the first thing that came to my mind was Juliana Olayode, Toyo Baby. Hello, Toyo Baby. Toyo Baby was the one that came to my mind because I've read her book. And in her book, she was sharing her own experience of, you know, sexual assault as a child, where someone in the neighborhoods, you know, a fellow neighbor violated her. And people were not, you know, heads over heels saying, oh, she's lying, because they don't know that person. So it's easy for people to sometimes let go because they don't know who the person is. But when they know who the person, who the perpetrator is, and he's also a public figure, the feeling is mixed and the community is divided. Please, I'm begging you, and I'm begging the Nigerian authorities also to look into this matter and investigate. Moreover, she's not the only one who is even talking. There are other women who are also talking. In fact, the person who reached out to me to respond to this on Dear Bukola said, we hear about him, sexually molesting girls in Ilorin, because the person went to school in Ilorin. She said when we were in Ilorin then, you know, the rumor was all over what it does to girls. So it was something that some people even knew in the community. And when Bukola Dakolo was, Busola, I keep calling her Bukola, maybe her middle name will be Bukola. You know, when she was sharing her story, she mentioned names. So, for example, the day she was raped behind his bumper, when he went to drop her off, you know, she mentioned about the wife asking her to come and help them in the house, and she went to help them in the house. You know, the wife should remember that incident. That yes, it's true, I asked this girl to come to the house to help on this day. And she also said, oh, she didn't want to go sleep in the, is it the visitor's room or something like that? Okay, well, that is even a red flag. When somebody comes to your house, when the person is not a member of your family, and you ask the person to go sleep in the guest room, and the person is saying, oh no, I don't want to sleep in the guest room. Even if the person doesn't tell you, oh, I'm scared to sleep in the guest room by myself, something is off. That is a red flag. For the wife to know that there is something going on here. And that is something that the wife will remember. I'm hoping that the wife will come out. She may not come out to protect her husband, but she will know this incident. That day, the scenario she explained that day. Honestly, it's really, really hard. The way she was telling her story, this indeed is a victim. Having worked with various victims myself and being a survivor myself, I do know when someone is an actual victim. This person is a victim, and I'm really glad that she's getting help. And I hope that she continues to get mental help, because it is very, very, very important to get mental help. Okay, let me kind of tell you a different scenario to this for you to kind of get some things. When I was in college myself in Nigeria, you know, there was the church. I won't name the church that I used to attend, except those who went to school with me then or who went to church with me, we know which church. So we were going to church and we had two pastors, the senior pastor and the junior pastor. The senior pastor was a married man with children, but the junior pastor was not. According to him, he was engaged. We don't even, I never saw his fiance, but he was engaged. Even though I never saw his fiance was uh, never around whenever I went to church. I never saw his fiance. Perhaps some people might saw his fiance when she visited, but I never saw his fiance. But he was engaged. And I think even at the end of the day, he got married before he left the church or so. I don't even remember now. So anyhow, he was there in the church. The junior pastor is the one that comes across like the disciplinarian, the one who doesn't take nonsense. But guess what? He was also the same one sexually molesting girls in the church. It wasn't until recently I knew that something was going on, because he tried it with me, but luckily, I had to run away. One of my friends who visited me like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we were talking about school and remembering, school, and then we remember some different people and their names. And she said, oh, this girl, when, we remember the name, she said, oh, this girl, that girl, aborted pregnancy for that your stupid pastor. I'm like, what? I said, which our pastor was married? She said, the one that is not married. The junior pastor, who comes across like the disciplinarian. It was always the one that was always on us. Yet it was the one molesting girls in the church sexually. Even there was a day he told me, it was like when he saw that I was running, he said, oh, you are even disciplined. There is some other girls that, they're so loose and mentioned, like this girl mentioned her name. I said she's so loose, she has done so many abortions. Meanwhile, pastor was sleeping with the girl and the girl aborted pregnancy for him. If that kind of girl come out now to say, oh, this pastor did this, the same thing you public will say, why didn't she come out then? Why didn't she say something then? She's lying. She just wants to ruin the life of the pastor. She just wants to ruin the pastor's ministry. Come on, people. It's hard to come out in the first place. I want you to know that. It's really, really hard to come out. And I really commend Busola Dakolo for coming out. And please, I encourage victims to come out. If you don't want to come and share your story publicly, please look for a support group. Go to therapy. Go to mental health therapy to help you heal. And I also want to let you know from the United Nations report I read to you earlier on, it is not only girls that experience sexual assault or rape. Boys experience it too. So you boys, those of you who have now become men, please seek help. Go to therapy to be healed. Because I know that even though it's a woman who came out now and speaking, there are men who have also experienced something like this. And that is what I have for you on Dear Bukola today. If you have questions, please feel free to post your questions in the comments. I'll be glad to respond to your comments. And if you are seeking for help, you can contact me info@bukolaoriola.com. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.